So after 3 different attempts, this one is because I thought the layer are a bit, it doesn't look right. It should be 2 mm. This one failed because I forgot to turn off ironing mode, so it tried to iron the entire bottom over here and made a ton of retraction, like 30 different retraction on the corners, and it basically created a blob over here. The hot end kind of get hit by the blob and cause a layer shift over here and here, so I have to stop that print early. But the bottom layer seems, I mean, okay, it's not even remotely good by any sense. So that brings us to our third attempt. The bottom layer is basically the same as this one, but they are like crossing each other, so I'm hoping that it can make up somehow. By the way, this is basically the first Vase mode design I have made, and I am very pleased with the 2 mm extrusion line. The gaps between them are 0.5, if I remember correctly. 0.5 mm. I believe I can make it a bit tighter. Yeah, we'll have to try that and publish our findings, because yeah, Vase mode is super nice if you have a thick enough nozzle. A 0.4 will work for this, but the layer height will be kind of small if you try to squish it out. So basically can do it. A 0.4 nozzle can do it, but not to the same degree as a 0.8 nozzle. So this is actually where the 0.8 nozzle shine. You can see the file we designed with a 2 mm walls are now being extruded following the walls like that, just like that. See how smooth it runs. Yeah, took quite a bit of frustration to get to this point. Should just make a time-lapse video. Yeah, I don't think Vase mode like time-lapse that much, but I recently got a different tripod to replace the old one, so yeah, maybe I'll set up the phone, record some time-lapse of the print in Vase mode. It's a bit annoying to record like this, because the object just link back and forth, you know. So I think having a Core XY Gen 3 would be much more beneficial, but you know, just have to try. Now I'm a bit worried about the bottom there, because I will need to glue that up here so that I can hold all my nozzles. I think I'm starting to think that this gap it's just a tiny bit too much for it, maybe. And besides, this is way too much walls than I think needed. Basically the internal walls are now like 4 mm. Maybe there are some different way that I can design this thing. Yeah, but for a single perimeter wall, this is the best I can think up at the moment. So basically squish everything into a wall, like the exercise we used to solve as a kid. We used to solve when we are a kid, trying to draw a shape without lifting the pen. Same here, just with a ton more geometric and dimensional constraint. this thing will complete in half an hour, so let's skip to that. Is finally completed. Let me check. I believe it is that one. 66 gram. Is this correct? I remember it a little bit more than that. Yeah, still 66 gram. So yeah, I think it's the 44 minutes one. I don't have a lot of hopes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like a net over here. It's not the most secure. Let me try to put my, like, I think I can glue the side, everything down to the base. The base is also 3D printed. Let me try to stuck something down here. Okay, so I got a couple of nozzle to test. It's supposed to go in. Okay, I think it kind of fit. It's not supposed to fit in like that. It's supposed to go the other way in. Let me test this one out. Yeah, it's supposed to go like this, but I guess the rim design, the rim over here, is just too much for the nozzle to sit in. So basically, we're gonna have to store it. I'm gonna have to store it like pop up like this, which I don't like, mainly because it looks terrible. But the part feels, yeah, absolutely solid. A bit of a flex, but that is normal on part like this, even with walls. Let me check the flex. Yeah, this is how much flex it can give. But otherwise, surprisingly strong. I guess it makes sense, given that all of these are 2mm, and yeah, it cannot flex out that much, but yeah, the compression is definitely the same as other kind of slicing. And the best part is that there are no seam anywhere. Layer lines is kind of thick, but I will trade that thing for speed any day now. Kind of a failure, to be honest. I didn't expect it to. Okay, that one should have fit in, slot in like that. That is how it should have gone. I don't know why. My guess is that the corner down here have this fillet, this corner, and the upper one technically doesn't have any corner, so it kind of still fits in. And that corner is 3mm, and it is just enough to mess my day. So not very fun. I guess I should have flipped this thing around. Okay, because I tried to turn off the fan, there are a couple areas of filament deposit that also affect the dimension of the part, but I believe mainly still due to the corner over here. So I'm gonna need to address that and probably thin out the section over here as well, because 0.5mm is actually pretty big as far as I can see over here, so I might be able to turn it down even more. Okay, so this is the wall thickness for the 2mm nozzle. I'm sorry, 2mm extrusion width. Let me get my caliper in there. So I think there are still a little bit of shrinkage, or maybe that was due to my terrible caliper handling. But after that adjustment, I can somewhat reasonably get my hot end out there. This is my old 2.2 millimeter. This is my 0.4, yeah. And then, of course, I'm also using a 0.2 millimeter right now to print some keycaps. But yep, I love this design language, like the walls. Even though they can flex, I believe they will also flex if you print it in normal layer mode. I do need to find a way to fix the netting effect. Not netting, but just some net pattern on the bottom layer. Maybe I should just use the dynamic calibration that came with the printer. But yeah, definitely one of the preferred design. And this is actually the lid. Fun fact, I actually put a nozzle that is still hot down, and then just leave it dimple. Yeah, so put it in there. That's what I got. And I like to keep this side, the side with the groove, to remind me that this is my first vase mode design for an enclosure like this. Terrible mistake of deleting OBS off my from my PC when I was doing some cleanup, but I'm just gonna have to show it like this one because I'm a bit busy right now and have other stuff to attend to. Now right there is actually the design I've made. A guy on the internet said that I don't need the divider lines between that. So this is actually the entire design. So I try to model the turning radius, the extrusion, and all that stuff down. So I try to give it as much control as possible. And of course I also model the base separately. Yeah, you can see that the base down here separately. And yeah, that is how I made my first 3D printed enclosure using vase mode. So as always, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.